Saturday night, you guys. I'm here in the studio. Uh, what's going on, you guys? What's the word? Saturday night, I'm sitting in the studio doing what I always do, but I'm taking a little break. Said, let me hop on here and holler at you guys. I'm watching some TV in the B room while I take my little break in between working on this album. And yeah, supposed to be tonight. I was waiting for Meech to hit me back because it's supposed to be at the Kendrick Lamar show. Him and I hanging out with Top Dog, but I'm here in the studio working. Happy Saturday, man. What are you guys doing, man? What is up with everybody? I'm so excited to be getting this album done. I think it's been a I've been holding off too long to get this record done because I've been getting a lot of DJs from the UK and Japan asking me if this album was done. I keep saying that it's almost done. I keep saying I'm about to, you know, get the album to you guys or release it, and then something always seems to come up. So I'm trying to make time to finish my album, but it seems like everybody else's project comes up when I'm in the middle of finishing my album. Hashtag Justice for Angie Stone, you guys. Let me see who's on here. Camille, hi. Um, does that say Panique? Hi, Panique. I hope I'm not saying that wrong. Lisa, hi. My evening is good. I'm here working. You guys know me, man. Oakland, what's happening? Blessings, Oakland. Thank you. If it's your first time stopping into the channel, I appreciate you for taking the time. Um, Leanne, hi. What's happening, you guys? Lindell. Oh, Lindell, no, thank you for taking the time to check out my live videos. That right there means a lot to me. And my thing is to continue to bring what we need from our community. You know, even though I'm an artist, most people would be selfish and they'd be trying to focus on being an artist. I know that's part of me. I know that's not going to go anywhere, but I understand that the knowledge is imperative in our community and it's something that's needed. And somebody has to, somebody has to do it. You know what I mean? It's like everybody can't be turned up. We can't always do videos of being in the club. Excuse me. We can't always do videos on who's fighting and arguing and things like that online. What celebrities are going through. There are common people that want to know what's going on with the common folk in America, especially in their community. So I wanted to be a bridge with that. I wanted to be that bridge and not just make it about Stone, but make it about our community. And in doing that, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? I know that I'm living my legacy through my music. I get that, but I feel like it would be such a better legacy to leave if I'm sharing knowledge, and I can choose to share that knowledge through my music as well, right? But I just don't want it to be about me and focusing just on me. You understand what I'm saying? That's the reason I get on here and I talk about things that matter. Like I said, I can always collaborate that in conjunction with my music. But the most important thing is people are going to remember you for what knowledge you gave or how positive or negative you are. Think about that. Like when we leave this earth, think about all our family members. What we remembered by them was the things that they made that were impactful. Now, as an artist, I know that I'm leaving a legacy of music behind if I'm no longer here. We all know that. That's just common sense. But the artists from the 50s and the 30s and the 40s, they always use their music voice for a bigger cause. And I want to be known as a person that used my music not just for my own gain, but to also help people understand, help them figure things out, help them um, figure out how to achieve certain things through knowledge and wisdom and learning their community and learning what they shouldn't do and what they should do to expand and continue to grow. What good is it to be a messenger if you're not coming with a message, right? And I know I'm hitting you guys with all this crazy stuff on a Saturday night, but I know you understand what I'm saying. Mm. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm trying to read some of these messages. Denny Nicole said justice all the way. Absolutely. Tinkerbell said justice for Angie Stone. That is it. Pause. Louisiana in the house. I love Louisiana. What's up, my Louisianans? Sending love to you guys. Pause. Thank you for. I hope you're a member of the channel. I know you subscribe. Hope you're a member. And for those that have not received your CD as a member, comment if you received it. We're doing okay. We did the first half of the shipment. The second half of the shipment is going out. So if you haven't received it, if you can't comment here, go to my Instagram and just comment and let me know. Um, just give me your name again so I can check the list and see which ones we shipped off because we shipped off a lot of CDs. Lindell said, keep going and thank you. Yes, thank you, brother Lindell. I know I'm reading that twice. Lindell, I'm sorry if Lindell, if I'm reading that twice, forgive me. Sasha says, I find grown-ups and children. Lisa, what she said? I find grown-ups and children. Um, yeah, Sasha, what do you mean, Sasha? I'm confused. Lindell said, people don't want to be telling us stuff. Yeah, Lindell, I don't understand what that is, honestly. It's confusing to me, but I at least want to be known for using my platform in a proper way that really leads to actually helping people. Um, what's the purpose? It's the real truth. Like, why? Why not? Right? Trishelle, long time no see. I don't think I've seen you on what in a couple days. Lindell said we didn't have these resources back in the day. No, we sure didn't. Penique said I was a member checking out your MP4, but I love Angie Stone too. So it brought me here. Panique, listen, let me say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for taking the time to come back to my channel and to find me worthy of subscribing to my channel. And hopefully you'll become a member. I appreciate that. Those things mean a lot to me because all I'm trying to do is make a difference in our community. That's it. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody because those are the things that I don't do. But I don't just want to be an artist that sings. I don't want to be known, oh, the guy sings, he makes great music. I don't care about that. What I care about is what am I doing with my platform? I want to be able to make a difference. I want to know that I'm making a difference or I'm not writing a song is nothing. I can do that all day long. But if I can make a difference to our community and help someone with knowledge, help someone with being able to make life easier because they understand the logistics of what they need to do legally, paperwork wise, logistic wise. And I've done my job a million times over. That's what makes a difference to me. Mendel said, this isn't easy work. I see that you have to be up trying to finish your music. Yeah, now, Lindell, let me tell you how complicated this is. I run a distribution company. I have other businesses that I'm running. I produce records for a lot of major artists in the music industry. People are consulting with me for different businesses and business ventures, and consulting with me about their careers. And then I'm working on a couple independent films that I'm writing. And then I have to work on my own music, right? Then I got to find time for myself to be able to meditate and chant, because I do that every day. I go to and I have to go to the temple. I have to keep my meditation and my chanting on a high frequency. And then I got to be human every single day and continue to try to balance out dealing with people every day and still get online and do this. I appreciate you understanding that it's not easy. And then go write a great song. So imagine having to do all those things, and then you go back and now you got to try to write a great song and give people great music, great lyrical content, great rhythm, great melody. It's not easy. It's far from easy. I'll be honest with you. Um, it is it is far from easy. But I try not to complain about it, because when you're chosen to do something, if you complain, then those blessings you can alter by complaining. So I just deal with it and just make it work. That's what I do. I deal with it and just make it work. Leanne said almost 24/7. Absolutely, Leanne. Lisa said, thank you, Stone. It needs to be more Stone Paxtons in the world. I've been watching since March, and you're pretty solid. Lisa, if you met me today, 20 years from now, you would say this. You know what? That Stone is all right. That Stone is a all right dude. I'm not a switch up person. You know how you meet some people, they become your friends, and as soon as other people come around, they change up and they act different. I'm not that kind of person. I'm a real solid person all the way through. I don't switch up if a friend comes around. I don't switch up if a woman comes around. If a best friend comes around, I stay the same way, right in the middle all the time. I've had friends who, as soon as their girlfriend or their wife comes around, they switch up. I've had lady friends, soon as their family or boyfriend come around, or their best friend, they switch up. I've always been a solid person, because I'm a solid person. I kind of expect that kind of situation from other people as well. And when I don't get it, I just kind of ghost. So yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Olivera, hey, what's up? Lindell, I'll be honest, I wish sometimes I could meet somebody that thinks exactly like me, that moves exactly like me, and that has um because I'm a forgiving person. Like, I've been done pretty cold by people through the years, but I seem to have a forgiving heart. I'll forgive them. Doesn't mean I'm gonna deal with them, but I'll forgive them and just keep it moving. You know what I mean? So I don't meet many people like myself. It's rare. Honestly, it's rare. I don't meet many people like myself. You know, I can turn all the way up with the best of them, but I'm controlled turn up now. Don't get me wrong. What I mean by that is my turn ups are controlled. I know when to shut it down. I don't just turn up erratically and unpredictable. And I have reasons for my turn ups, and then I know when to turn those turn ups down. I know when I need to and when I shouldn't. Cheryl said, Cookie was a pioneer, founding his own label, SAR Records. I remember SAR Publishing Company, CAG's music to gain autonomy over his work. Absolutely. However, Klein was proposed. Klein was proposed in joint venture that was what assembled by or offered Cookie. What I'm trying to read that, but my this light behind me sometimes it makes it hard to read stuff. Anyway, let me continue. Austin Symbol offered Cookie greater control and financial benefits. In reality, The deal was structured to transfer significant rights and control the climb. Yes. Then Cheryl said legally the agreements were sound, but they highlight the importance of understanding contract nuances. Cheryl also said Cookie's experience underscores the necessity for artists to have vigilant legal counsel and a thorough grasp of their contractual obligations to safeguard their creative and financial interests. Absolutely, Cheryl. Thank you for that. Now, I'm going to touch on that in a second. Trishelle said it's a lot to do, but the rewards are far greater. Just knowing you're striving and pushing hard to help support others, pouring out to others and serving in every capacity means the world to me. Thank you, Trishelle. Thank you, Cheryl, for that. Now, listen, that's the reason I am the CEO of Brand Artist Coalition Music Distribution. That's the reason I'm a gatekeeper, but I'm a gatekeeper in a good way because I'm going to tell you why. If you go look at my Brand Artist Coalition, you'll see all the very, very important industry people on the website. But what you'll also see is that the way the company is structured is it's by artists for artists. That was the whole design. By artists for artists. I have the UK covered, I have Japan covered. We don't just do digital, we do physical, we do vinyl. We really help structure and put artists in positions. We allow artists to keep 100% of their royalties, which is the way it should be. So this is why when I spoke about artists being able to get $1 per stream, and this is going to change the game, the working wage for artists to have an actual wage now, which this should have been passed years ago in Congress. And me being a member of the Grammys is something the RIAA talked about in many emails and many discussions about artists being paid more. There should be a working wage. There's no reason records should be coming out and artists are not getting paid for their work as a working wage artist. Why not? Any other job in America we do, there's a working wage. I don't care if you're working for the city picking up garbage, there's a working wage. Why not? This should have been something that should have happened many, many years ago with an artist. I own my label. I own all of my publishing, all of my copyright, all of my masters to all of my music. If I don't own it, it's because maybe I sold it. If I don't own it, if I sold it by choice, not because somebody forced me to sell it. So sometimes artists are so desperate to get in a record deal, they're willing to take the things they don't realize they're taking initially because they want the fast money. I've been offered deals over and over again through the years. I've been offered publishing deals. I've been offered by companies to buy my publishing. I've had companies contact me and said, "Hey, I want to buy your," and I said, "I've looked at the situation and I've looked at what I'm going to make in a year or 2 years and evaluated what am I making on just streaming? What am I getting as a whole from Apple, iTunes, Spotify? Just combine all those things combined together, right? In my publishing." And I said, well, if they're offering me this much to buy my whole catalog, I'm going to make that anyway at this amount of time. So I'm cool. I'm not going to sell. I've been offered to borrow against my publishing. There's a lot of private investors. If you're making a certain amount a year in publishing, they will actually buy or not even buy. They'll actually advance you 100,000, 50,000 against your publishing. I've turned those deals down. And another thing too, what artists don't understand, there's also a lot of money in the physical CD sales. This is why you've seen there's resurgence of vinyl and CDs because when artists make that money, they get to keep all of that money. But with streaming, of course, you've seen artists have been getting robbed. So I put in so much work into my life. Like I work like extremely. I haven't met an artist that works as hard as I have because I'm not just an artist. I'm a businessman first. Artistry is in me. That's not going anywhere. But I'm a businessman first. Artist, writer, arranger, producer, recording engineer, musician. I'm all of those things. I wear all those hats, not because I want to, but because all of my life I've had no choice but to wear those hats in order to put myself in a better position in life. So I've worn all those hats and it's benefited me. Now, in the beginning, it didn't because it was complicated because all the work I had to put in to get good at doing all those things took years. It didn't happen overnight. And I'm still perfecting my craft. I continuously get better because it's not like there's a cap where you just get here and then you're set. You have to continue to push yourself to get better and better at producing, writing, arranging, business, contracts, deals, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to create situations and keep relationships in this business. Because the worst thing you don't want to have is to create a relationship and then you can't keep it in this business. I'm a very generous person. I've helped a lot of artists and I continue to. And I do that for a reason. You plant seeds, you build relationships, but at the same time, you're helping to build that artist's career or you help to add to their career that's already currently there. So you got to know how to relationship build. Everything is not always about um, taking from somebody, but it really should be about what you're going to give to them. You have a giving spirit and your character is giving karma wise, all that's going to come back. So I give because I know it's the right thing to do and I give in the right way. I used to just give carelessly and get burned. Now I don't do that. I give in the right way, I give to the right people. And I know karma wise, karmatically, I'm creating even better karma for me because those things come back when I least expect it. Let's see. Cheryl said, Cookie's experience underscores the necessity for artists to have vigilant legal counsel and their grasp. I think I read that one before. A thorough grasp of their contractual obligations to safeguard their creative. Absolutely. I mean, that's a fact. I don't know. I think I read that one already. It's not easy, you guys. You got to listen, when you see, and this is what I say, when you see a young artist really working really hard and they're up against the wall and it seems like they're doing everything, and you might just hear them talk, pay attention to them when you hear them talk. And they might be frustrated because I used to say, let me tell you the story. Back in the day, and this is no joke, I'm going to show you something. This is the group I used to be in back in the day. Let me show you. Let me see if I can turn this light on. Turn it on some. Let me just show you guys. Back in the day, this is a group I used to be in. That's me right there. This is the 80s, you guys. That is me right there. The 80s. Okay. That was the group I was in back in the day. Now, I'll tell you, the crazy part about that was there was no one that was going to save us. And what I mean by that is we busted our asses, man. Like I got videoed it from 1991, 1985, 1984 of us performing shows, concerts, busting our butt on stage in the studio to get a certain record deal when it was hard, when it was hard to get record deals. So we were sequestered by Dick Scott Entertainment, which was the same management company as the New Kids on the Block's management, right? So I met the New Kids on the Block's tour manager. This is before he was managing the New Kids. He was managing Snap and Dougie Fresh. They were managing Dougie Fresh, Snap, Brenda K. Starr. And that was a teen club back in Illinois. It was a teen nightclub. And that's where we would go to dance on the weekends. And we danced until we sweat our damn clothes off in the 80s. This was funny, right? So I don't know if Snap was performing. I can't quite remember. But yeah, it had to be because there was a tour bus out in front of the club. So I gave my demo that I had cut on a 4-track to the tour manager, to the New Kids on the Block's tour manager. Once again, he wasn't the New Kids tour manager yet because they hadn't put the New Kids on the Block together yet and Marky Mark. So I gave the demo to him and he asked me, who is that singing? And so that picture I just showed you with the group, I said, oh, that's the group I'm in, right? I said, oh, I said, it's me in the group. He said, oh, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, okay, I'm going to listen to it when I get on the tour bus when we're, headed back to New York. New York, he said, when we headed back to New York. That's what he said to me, right? I said, okay, cool. So probably like 2 days later, I get a call and he said, hey, this is Peter Work. I said, what's up, Pete? He said, yeah, I heard that CD. He said, no, I heard that cassette tape. I said, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, man, I love it, man. He said, so that's the group. That's your group you in? Or no, he said, is that the group you in? I said, yeah, that's the group I put together. He said, man, y'all sound good, but it wasn't the group. It was all me singing, all the backgrounds, harmonies, music production, everything. So back in the day, there was this dude named Caleb Smith and Maurice Smith. And they used to let me come into they had a studio in their basement. This before I had my little 4-track. And I had drums at home and stuff like that. But these guys had like a nice little studio setup back in the day in the 80s. And they used to let me come and record in their basement. But it's kind of funny um, because, okay, let me just tell this story and I'll get to that one. So I tell the New Kids manager, like I said, this is before he was their manager. This is probably like a year before they had the New Kids. He said, so who is that singing? Paxton, because everybody always called me by my last name. Who's that singing, Paxton? I said, that's me. He said, who's singing all the backgrounds? I said, that's the group. He said, man, y'all sound good. I said, yeah. He said, okay, send me some pictures. And I was like, oh shit. So I freaked out because I had to call the guys. I called this one guy, I called him my cousin. I called him. I said, hey man, we got to put the group together. I got to get 3 other guys, man. We got to. And so we had this older dude, this older guy who worked at Guitar Center, not Guitar Center, some like place where you bought equipment. But this guy had all the keyboards back then, like he had all the equipment. So I remember seeing him perform. So I told him about the situation, but he was like, I don't know. I think this dude might have been even, I don't know, he might have been 10 years older than us because he was like an adult at that time. We were still young dudes, right? Anyway, he joined the group because he had the equipment. So we needed somebody with the equipment. So keyboards, we need to write songs we had to do, right? Plus, he played keys and he could produce too. So I put the group together because Peter wanted a picture. He said, listen, I like the demo. When I get back to New York, we're going to talk and about, flying y'all to New York and, put money behind so we can get this, we need some official records, right? But I like what I heard. So I put the group together. I put the guys together. We took pictures. We sent to them. Now, remember, nobody in the group had sung on those demos. It was all me on that demo. Long story short, we ended up getting the deal. We were able to go out on the tours with the New Kids on the Block. I mean, honestly, this tour had to be 100,000, 200,000 capacity. Being able to be out on that tour and to see all those people on that tour was the most amazing thing in my life. I will never forget this, man. We were in New Berlin, Wisconsin. I can't wherever they used to have that Playboy Mansion at. They converted that to like a hotel. But anyway, um, it was the most incredible thing to see, to look out into that venue and see all those people 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 people sitting, or maybe 80 to 100. I just know it was a lot of people. That whole tour was crazy. To see that many people and to be able to be a guest of being out on the road on that tour back in the day when the New Kids were at the height of their career was incredible. To be able to be managed by and even considered to be managed by Dick Scott Entertainment, and rest in peace to Dick Scott because he's no longer here. But for Peter Work to have taken us on was the most magical thing. But understand, I'm going to show you guys how long I've been doing this. I went and put that together, and because of me, that group happened. Now, things fell apart with our deal and situations like that, and that's a whole nother story within its own right. But I continue to move on and continue to do stuff in the music industry. And sometimes, there's an old saying that when God gives you something, it's for you. Those the rest of those guys went on and didn't do anything with music after that. I'm the only one that went on to really do something with music. Besides one of the members, he just started. He's an attorney now. He just started releasing material, and I'm proud of him to see that he's back on that. But the rest of the members, they haven't put anything out. They didn't. When I left the group, I left the group because of things that I didn't like, and and everybody in the damn group wanted to be Michael Jackson. What a keyboard player wanted to be Michael, and he was trying to make everybody else be Michael Jackson. I'm like wearing glittery gloves and shit. Like that was cool. I love Michael, but I just even when I was younger, I knew that there was something kind of corny about trying to be too much like Michael. There's only one Michael. So this dude wanted to wear. I could have pictures. I wish I could find them. I could find pictures, and you guys would crack up because when I tell you the keyboard player, which was an older guy, he had the curl. And if you see this video, if you see me on live, he'll laugh and he'll know that I'm not making it up. He had the curl like Michael. Listen, I just showed you guys a picture. He had the curl like Michael. He used to wear like the shirts with the little buckles, and he used to have the little belt, and he used to have the glitter. He used to come on stage with us like that. The shit used to be embarrassing. One of the reasons why I decided to leave the group. It's just a lot of shit. I got tired of being in the studio singing all the background vocals because as a group, the group wasn't really solid at harmonizing. And me, I'm big on harmonies. And so whenever we would do shows live, the group wouldn't always be great at harmonizing, no matter how much we practice. And it was embarrassing for me, especially me being the one singing most of the background vocals and harmonies in the studio because people couldn't get the harmonies right. CC, thank you. Thank you for the donation. CC always holds me down. I appreciate that. CC and Scorpio. I ain't seen Scorpio in a minute. And said I. But listen, so I got tired of that, you guys. So what he did was there was this other dude. I never forget it, named Terry A or something. This dude like sounded like Michael back in there. He did. This dude sounded like Michael. And because the keyboard player was the oldest guy in the group, the same group I put together, Trey, he was the oldest guy. I don't know if he was trying to plot to figure out how to get me out of my own group that I created. I'm not quite sure. I just know as soon as I left the group, the Michael Jackson dude was in the group. And, and when I tell you dude sound like Michael, he sounded like Michael. But I think it might have been some flack between the two of them because you got a keyboard player who wanted to be Michael Jackson. Now you got a dude that actually sounded like this dude. Terry A was his name. This dude really sounded like Michael. This is back in the 80s. This dude sounded like Michael, man. He sounded like Michael Jackson. I just felt like there's always already been a Jackson 5. I didn't want to entertain wearing glitter on stage, gloves, glitter socks. I felt like that was some corny comedy shit, and I didn't want to do it. So it was a lot of reasons why I left the group. And then something else happened within the group that I got a phone call from New York from Peter, and he told me some things happened that he was upset about, and he didn't really want to fuck with the group anymore. Those were his words, because something happened and made him look really bad. Wow, I spoke Scorpio's name and Scorpio just popped up. Wow, Scorpio, where have you been? I haven't seen you, Scorpio. We've been talking about you, Meech and I. Where you been hiding at, Scorpio? Been hiding out on us. So I thank you for the donation, Scorpio. You're always holding the channel down. Appreciate you. With a lot of love from us. So I was upset. I get this call from New York, and literally our manager said he wanted to come to Illinois and whoop somebody's ass Brooklyn style. Because somebody had made a call and did some foul backdoor shit. And that was it for me. Now I never told the group why I left. I was just kind of done. There was a lot of jealousy, and still to this day, it seems that same jealousy is there. I don't even know why. Even to this day, as grown men, that same jealousy with me seems to lie there. Like there was never one. Not everybody in the group. There's only like one person that really always had this weird thing about me. So I don't even know what that was about because we've never had official conversation as to, hey, bro, why did you always like kind of low key hate on me, right? So I remember we did this show in Chicago. It was the Kids Say No to Drugs. We were teens at that time. And after we come off stage, and I have all this video footage. This is part of my documentary. As soon as I'm able to truncate this down to a SD, I'm actually going to post some of the footage. But we come off stage. Now you got all these screaming girls and they're looking for autographs. They're lining up. We have a table. Most of the people were lined up at my table, but I knew that was going to cause some static with the group. So I asked some of the fans, like, can you go over to their table? Can y'all, I'm doing this, like, go over to their table because I already know that later on that night is going to be a lot of tension on our way in the hotel or riding back to another location to perform. There was going to be real quiet towards me, right? And I didn't want to deal with that. So I'm asking them, can you go over there and get in line to get an autograph from them, please? And I'm kind of like begging them, please. And a lot of the people started to move over there in that line. Scorpio sent 10 Stone Paxton's life blog memberships. Wow, Scorpio's hooking you guys up with memberships, man. Listen, y'all see that? That's super love. She's giving whoever doesn't have memberships, she's hooking people up with memberships. I think that's how that works, right? She's giving memberships out. Wow, that's crazy, crazy love. You guys better jump on board with that. Scorpio's coming in here just stringing it up for you guys, man. So so they went in those lines, right? But there was always a like this hidden agenda. I'm not even gonna say hidden agenda. Every group has this dynamic. Just know that. It doesn't matter who the group is. There's always a couple guys in the group that doesn't like one guy. And it's typically built around the lead vocalist. Always. I was the main vocalist of the group. And so there was always, and then I could write, arrange, and produce. So, and then I had my little swag. I didn't know back then I had swag, but I had some swag back then. I didn't know it because we didn't use that word back then. So there was a lot of animosity, but unspoken animosity. And to this day, this same person does little weird things that they don't think that I know that they do or say that lets me know they're still the same way they were when we were teenagers. They haven't changed. So you know what they say that God doesn't like ugly. So I say to anybody watching me that was in that group, y'all know how we were. If you're wondering why those blessings didn't happen for you in your life, it's because of how you are. You still have an opportunity to be successful if you change the way you are, especially that one person. And you know who I'm talking about. If you change, we're adults now. No reason for you to be the way you are with me. It's almost like this person is funny. I remember talking to this person, telling them about my story about Joe Jackson, about how I finally met Joe, and Joe was like an uncle to me, right? And I said, man, I used to write letters to Joe Jackson when I was young, Joe Jackson Production. And I used to write all these letters to Joe to try to get a record deal when I was younger. Ended up meeting Joe. So I tell this same guy from the group the story. I said, hey, man, bro, you can't believe it. I'm excited telling him about my life because he hadn't been around me since we were teens and I left the group. So I'm bringing him up to speed. Like, yeah, this has happened. I'm trying to be humble and not talk about all the great things, right? Because maybe some things he doesn't know. But all my life, I've been a very resourceful person. Even when I was a young dude, I knew how to talk to people. I was always the dude talking, making things happen. So I tell him the story about working with Joe, and he goes, "Oh, that's good. Yeah, yeah. I always knew you were always good at talking to people, and yeah, I always knew you were gonna go on and do something in business." Now listen to that. He totally disregarded me as an artist. He said, "Oh, I always knew you were gonna go on and do something in business." Now at that moment, he had not realized all the things I had accomplished because he wasn't paying attention to me through the years. But he was happy to think that I only accomplished the business portion of it. He didn't want to hear about me accomplishing anything as an artist. He wasn't concerned. He didn't even care about it. He strictly focused on, oh, I always knew you would go on and be, good with business because you've always been good with dealing with people. I said, no, bro, not just business. And I started to tell him all the things that I'd done that maybe he didn't even know that I had done, and all the people I had produced and worked with that maybe he didn't even know. Thinking that that was going to make things different with somebody that I've known since I was a kid, right? Did it make it any difference? No, he's still the same way. He's cool, but there you can still see that I don't give a fuck about you attitude deep inside. Like, I'm mad that you went on and became successful in what you were doing. Instead of saying, I'm so proud of you, man. I remember we were kids. I remember watching you when you were young. I seen the drive, I seen your continuous drive and how far you've gotten. I thought I would get one of those. So then he created a group message with me and all the rest of the guys of the group. Now, check this out. I was happy to talk to all the guys. Only one of the guys from the group actually keeps in touch with me. His name is Omar. Now, Omar, we talk all the time. He'll message me. He's an attorney out of New York. He keeps in touch. We talk about all the great times when we were young and all the shows and all the fun we had in recording studio, right? But even he picked up on some of the shit that goes on because there was a group message, right? And I remember sharing some of my records that had charted on the USA Top 100 R&B albums and R&B singles, and I thought everybody was going to be happy for me. So I sent a message. I said, I want to share this with you guys. They didn't care. Nobody commented and said, oh man, Stone, great. We're proud of you, bro. I can't believe you're doing this. You're still on top of it. You're accomplishing all these great things, let alone share with them all the big shit I was doing. I didn't even share none of the big shit. I shared the small things like the records charting on the top 100 R&B soul albums, USA iTunes, and some of the stuff charting overseas. I didn't go too deep. I just didn't want to create animosity. No love in the messages. Once again, this was a group message with the whole group. So I was trying to figure out why he created a group message. And then one of the other members said, oh, he wants to probably get together and try to record an album. So I think they wanted to try to pick up from where we left off at in the late 80s. Well, I didn't really have an issue with that, but nobody really had a conversation with me about it except for one of the guys kind of told me what he thinks what was going on. So my thoughts are, how are we going to do an album? How are we going to pick up? And here's the crazy part. Now would have been a great time because things have happened for me in my career. I have a lot of opportunities and doors open with records breaking and touring overseas. And it would be a great time for us to be able to put that old group back together and pick up where we left off. But guess what? The egos are still the same. The ego, because it really was one person. But now that I'm seeing the energy in the text messages, ain't nobody's showing me no love. They're not like really interacting, like, we're proud of you, congrats. And then one time I posted a distribution company to try to tell them, you guys need distribution, you'll go onto the site and you can distribute your music. You can control it, keep control of everything. Somebody made a little joke about it in the comments. So then I realized, okay, this guy, this particular one in the group, from the group, he hasn't grown up. He's still doing the same little jealous stuff because maybe things haven't worked out for him. So instead of him being positive, he decides to be a negative source for me. So that's when I decided, nah, I don't think I would even want to be a part of some old shit that was nothing but negative energy, hidden negative energy. And when I'm not around talking a gang of shit about me, do I really want to help this situation now in my older age when I still see that person is still the same way? So I decided not to do it. I made a conscious decision to say I'm not going to be used for somebody to advance for the purpose of continuously hating on me. I've learned to stop doing that. So I stopped putting people in positions of power so that they can hate on me later on. Why? Why? I'm going to share something with you guys. I I had produced my ex-wife's album back in 2003. I took it offline. I'll put it back up so you guys can hear. When I tell you this is an incredible album, incredible. Incredible. This is before there were any Asian artists doing R&B. 1995, 96, 97. There was no Asian artist doing R&B like that. There was only my ex-wife, her name was Serena. There was Kai and One Voice. Those are three Asian groups. And I think one guy named JoJo back then. That was it. Scorpio. Scorpio said, "Good day, Mr. Paxton, CC, and chat. Catching up today, listening to you in the background. Thank you, Scorpio. We appreciate you and thank you for that other donation. Damn, you're always holding this just channel down, man. I mean, we got to do something special for Scorpio. You know, um, we appreciate you, Scorpio. So I produced my ex-wife's album. Right. Let me show you guys how my vision is. Back in the '90s, I had a Mexican group from Vegas. I had my ex-wife who was Asian. I always took in groups that I knew nobody would be interested in because my vision was the future. So I knew that the future were going to be Asian groups and Hispanic groups. So I took my time in producing albums and putting albums out on these artists, only to get DJs telling me, "Nah, man, Asian people singing R&B." I mean, cats would laugh at me, but when they would hear her sing, they would go, "Oh shit, she not black?" I'm like, "Nah." They said, "Damn, she sound black." I'm like, "I know." I spent probably 6 or 7 years of my life developing my ex-wife, her career in the Mexican groups, any Mexican artist doing the same thing. I'm gonna show you how artists can be and why I don't spend my time in really helping artists like I used to. I gave at least 20 years of my life at helping artists, not thinking about me, because I was the coldest artist under my label, but I kind of set myself aside, right? And I focused on helping other artists, only to get to the end of the process where they walked away from their own opportunity. If my ex-wife was still doing music, she would be huge right now. I used to book her in about 50 to maybe 100 shows a year because it was easy to go to her community and get her booked. It was easy to get Hispanic groups booked in their community because they people supported them. That was one reason I put energy into those kind of artists. But all the artists I work with, I kid you not, I had about 10 artists under my label. I have none of them because all of the energy I put into them, they didn't respect the money, the time, and the effort of me being in the studio day and night producing a record. I had a schedule that I had every artist on. This artist would come in this day, this artist would come in this day, and they would come in the studio and I produced their records, put it out, set up the tours, you guys. I would set up tours. I am not making this up. Any of the artists that are watching me that know me in the comments section, they'll tell you, any of the ones under my label, I would set up small tours and take my artists out on the road, and I was the tour bus driver. I'm not making this up. I would take them I would produce the records, write, arrange, produce, and book the tour. And I'm the driver of the doggone Sprinter, tour bus, van, whatever, RV. Usually it was an RV or a tour bus that we was in. And I would be the driver unless there was already a driver. This is all the stuff I did. This is why I don't feel bad about not taking on any more artists under my belt as exclusive artists under my label. That's why I don't really freak out on it anymore. Because people will hit me and say, "Do you take on artists?" I'm like, I done been there and done that. I could tell you when I meet an artist, I could tell you if they're gonna last a year, 2 years. When you've done it, you just know. This is why I still help artists, but I what I do now is set them up for distribution. I say, listen, go to the site. You really want to do music? Go to that site. It's cheap. Put your music out. You're in control of your music. Now, what I do is I might put out an R&B compilation or hip hop compilation. I'll throw artists on that, give them opportunity. But I stopped taking on artists as a label because I spent so many years investing money and time only in the end for that artist to walk away from their career. It just would really fuck me up. And then I realized that God wanted me to focus on Stone Paxton because I was putting too much energy into focusing on other people who did not appreciate. If you guys hear these albums that I produced on these artists back in the day, you will hear the passion that I put into each artist. Superb. Gave them careers, only for them to tell me in the end they didn't want to do music no more. Can you just imagine that? Can you imagine booking an artist, doing their album? Not only that, I would get them autograph sessions when there was a Sam Goody and Warehouse. I would set up the autograph sessions. I would stand there with them while they're signing autographs, talk to the customers coming in and out of the store to get them to buy my artist records. Oh, I was the real deal and still am. You won't find nobody like me. And I'm not toot my own horn. I'm just letting you know how I really was and how I really am and how I still am. I just don't take on any more artists. Artists now, I offer them consulting. You can come and consult with me. You can hire me to produce your record. You can hire me to market and promote and help break your record. But I'm not signing no acts under me no more. I don't do that anymore. I just don't do it anymore, because it's too risky to put that much energy into somebody that's not investing in themselves for them to walk away later. Pinky said, welcome to the industry conversation. Absolutely. Pinky, thank you. This is absolute industry conversation. Saturday night industry conversation. So so I decided to focus on Stone Paxton because I knew that I love myself enough that I'm not going to walk away from me. I knew that I love myself enough. And even when I went through my divorce with my ex-wife, right? Because she was my artist, but she was my wife before she was my artist, right? I remember telling her this. I said, listen, even though we're not going to be married anymore, even though um, we're in a divorce, let's still focus on your music. She told me she doesn't want to do music no more. Let me say it exactly the way she said, I don't want to do music anymore. I said, okay. I said, but are you sure? I said, man, I put a lot of, let's just focus on the music. Even though we're not going to be, she didn't want to do it. I said, well, you know what? You got to answer to your fans, not me. I don't think she thought about that then, but later on down the road, maybe 2 years later, she called me up and she wanted to get in the studio. And I felt uncomfortable about getting back in the studio with her because I felt like if I revisit that again, it was going to be a letdown. The same thing happened with the other artists that were under my label. All of them revented. They recircled back to me. I was worried about them being unloyal, coming around, getting a record done, disappearing on me, or losing their faith to do music. And so I decided, I remember before my mom passed away, this is her exact words. She said, are you going to wait until I'm no longer here to put an album out? I said, no, mom, I'm not going to. That's why I dedicated the Zodiac Volume 1 album to my mom. I said, no, mom, I'm not. She said, God gave you a gift. He's going to take it away. And these were her exact words to me. I dropped that album right after my mom passed away, the Zodiac Volume 1, Aquarius. She said, are you going to wait until I pass away to put your music out? What are you waiting on? You've helped everybody else get back to you. This is the reason I got back to my music because my mother didn't understand why I was helping so many people. And she said, you're the most talented person under your own company. Let that sink into your head. And it made me think. I started thinking, dang, she's right. Because of me, all the doors open for all my other artists that were under my company. How come I wasn't focusing on myself? That was my mother passed 2004. That was 2003, the conversation I had with her. And I decided to get back to Stone Paxton business in 2004. And I have not looked back. And since then, I've had 47 top 100, top 5, top 200 charting records on iTunes Top 100 R&B singles overseas, the UK soul charts over in Amsterdam, here in the USA. 47 of mine. She was right. Now, will I still help artists? Absolutely. I just will not sign the artist under my personal company, but I will help them do everything they need to do to accomplish their goals as an independent artist. Do you know how hard it is to even chart, get a record to chart as an independent artist? I want you guys to understand how hard it is to even get a record on the charts, on any chart, unless it's just some little small Rudy Poo chart that, the cat from the neighborhood threw together. But on the real charts, it's not easy. So when I say I have 47 charting iTunes Top 100, Top 5, Top 200, UK Soul Charts charting records, Top 5, Top 2, Top 20, that was a lot of hard work, you guys. And I lost a lot of sleep at accomplishing that, like I still do. This is what I do for real. This is not made up. This is not me trying to be an artist. This is the business I am for real. This is the business I am in for real. I live, I eat, sleep, and I drink this business. This is all I do. This is all I will ever do. And I always knew this has to work because I have no other option but this. I mean, I do have other options. I'm a pretty sharp dude, but this is my option. This is what I've been doing since I was a kid. This is all I know. I don't know anything else. Martial arts, this, music. I mean, I do know business, but the first thing I knew was the music and the martial arts. Those are the two things that I've been doing all of my life. Penny, Pinky, peace, yes. Melody said, your compassion for the industry and people is awesome. Thank you, Melody. Thank you. I appreciate that. CC said, the one who knows. Is that Desire? Or Dee Dee? 47. Wow, dude, y'all, you guys are talking. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, the music industry is a wonderful place when you got people that support you, you guys. It's an amazing place to be. Elizabeth said, thank you so much for the membership blessing. Yes, listen, Scorpio. Thank you, Scorpio, for blessing them. You guys need to thank Scorpio, everybody. Everybody in here. And Scorpio bless you guys with the membership to my channel. You guys need to put thank you, Scorpio, in the comments, please. To you guys, please thank you to Scorpio because that was awesome what she did. I like for everybody to thank Scorpio. All those that she's provided memberships for. Please send her a thank you, please. Leanne said, lots of high energy within you, along with talent. Anyone can search and see. Yes, thanks, Scorpio, you guys. Leanne, thank you for that. Yeah, Scorpio is amazing. I got to think of something special to do for Scorpio because honestly, since Scorpio landed on the channel, she showed Meech and I some super love, and I got to think of something special to do for Scorpio, and I'm going to think of something. We're going to figure something out, because this is not the first time Scorpio did this. Scorpio did this another time as well. The one who knows says, so Pip, I've always been a religion major, um, but at this big age, I can't stop evolving. Amen. Elizabeth, absolutely. So listen, the music industry is an amazing business. I just want you guys to understand that. So when you come on this channel, and those of you that might not know me, Scorpio, wow. She said, thanks to all you beautiful people. Thank you, Scorpio. Thank you so much, man. You're really making the room vibrant tonight with all the love that you're showing. Oh, Scorpio, listen, let me tell you something. If y'all don't know, for the ones that don't know, there's not been another person that has been able to even match to the level that Scorpio operates at. And I'm not bragging, but I got to brag a little bit because Scorpio always comes in the room and lights it up. So I have to show super love for that because she doesn't have to do that. And I appreciate that. You know, I think when people understand that you're coming from a real place, I think you get people to respect you on the level and respect your time of you talking and giving knowledge to people. And I feel like Scorpio is one of the rare ones that really tap in and understand that when she hears me speak, that I'm coming from a real place and it's not nothing that's tainted or made up stories, but it's all just real organic stuff, you guys. The one who knows said, "Thank you, Stone, for getting the flame again." Yes, yes. Listen, the one who knows, the one who knows. Sorry, I'm always like that. Yeah, I'm always like that because my mom used to scare me. She used to say something that really used to freak me out. She used to say, "You know what, son? If you don't focus on your music, God is going to give your voice to somebody else." And boy, oh boy, that used to scare the hell out of me. I used to be like, as a kid, I'd be like, I said, "They're going to give my voice, he's going to give my voice to somebody else, mom?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "You wake up in the morning, you ain't going to have no voice." She used to scare me like it. She said, "If you're not using it." But at first, she used to say, "If you're not using it for God, right?" But then through the years, she left me alone and started saying, "Well, son, you write great music. You're writing great things. You're not talking about bad things." And she said, God is not going to beat you up for that. She said, "But if you're not using your voice, he's going to take it away from you." So she had me in fear for many years. So when she reminded me of that before she passed away April 8th of 2004. But in 2003, we were having a series of real random and very strange phone calls about spirituality around October and November. And she died in April of the next year. So look at how close that was. And then I was even able to get her and my father on the phone, and they hadn't spoken since I was 2 years old. So they spoke to each other. So I said, "Man, this is weird." Like how the universe was lining things up with her talking to my father and her telling me all the things I need to do and how I need to focus on myself and how I put so much energy into other people. And if I wasn't going to put it into myself, that God is going to take my voice from me. And it scared the shit out of me because the last time I heard that from her, I was a kid. So it reminded me of when she used to say that. And when she passed away, I was halfway into that album, Zodiac Volume 1. And when she passed away, I dedicated that album to her and my older brother. And I made a promise to my mother, that I would not stop focusing on me from there on out. And I went in with a vengeance and I haven't looked back. And that's one reason, too, I stopped giving all my time to unappreciative people. I put so much energy into my ex wife's career more than I myself. Um, I put a lot of energy into other artists on under my label more than I did to myself. And as many nights, you guys, I used to cry and wonder why these people had no love for the stuff that I put into them. Even when I think about the artist Neo, let me tell you what happened the other day. Meech and I spoke at a juvenile facility, and I got some of the footage I'm gonna put on YouTube. I just haven't edited it yet, done the editing. Meech and I spoke at a juvenile facility, and there was a DJ there from Vegas. Anybody in Vegas will know who DJ Thump is. So DJ Thump was talking to the kids, and we would switch rooms. Meech would go to one room, I would go to one section to talk to these other kids. We would all just switch rooms, switch around. And as I was walking into one of the other containment areas with the juveniles that were locked up, by the way, telling our story, I heard DJ Thump tell the kids, "You see that guy over there? He's the reason I have my radio station. He told me that I could have my own station, and he showed me how to do it, and he made it happen. He helped me put together my own radio station at a time. I didn't even think that I could have my own radio station. Now, if you know who DJ Thump is here in Las Vegas, you guys understand that he was on 97.5, I think. But now it's been, I think, 4 or 5 years. I helped him start his own radio station called Rise. I never forget the day he walked in my store. Somebody brought him, and they said, "Hey, this is my boy, man. He's DJ Thump." I said, "What's up, man? How you doing, brother?" He said, "Station this," and he was going through trying to figure out what he's going to do with his future. I'm going to show you how much of a resourceful person I am with people. I say to him that day, I said, "Why don't you just start your own radio station?" He said, "I don't know how to do that." This was about maybe 6 years ago. I said, "I'll show you. I'll help you start. I'm going to put your station together for you." And he hasn't looked back since then. But what's my point? Me talking about artists and why I stopped really dealing with a lot of artists because they forget who helped them. DJ Thump told those kids what I did for him that changed his life in the way that he wanted a change to happen. I had the artist Neo. You guys know him as Neo. His real name is Schaefer. So also that same day at the juvenile facility, Thump says to me in front of all the people, he said, "Man, listen, I saw that post on Angie Stone. You've never lied about none, Stone. I've known you for years. You're a solid dude." He said, "I was talking to Fanny about you." Fanny is Neo's aunt. And he said, "Fanny told me the whole story about Neo and about you and how you put the group together." I said, "Man, it feels good to see somebody acknowledge the truth." Why is it so hard for artists? Here's another issue I have. You help them, they forget. I've not once, I'm still waiting to see Neo say, when they say, "How did you get your start?" For him and Corey Clark from American Idol, because I had them in the same group, say, "Oh, a guy named Stone Paxton from Las Vegas. He took us in, he named the group, he put us together, and his buddy stole us from him." Why is it so hard to say your career started from Stone Paxton? That's how to be. Because when they say, "How did your career start?" they're not, it's not a trick question. When people ask me how my career started, I would tell you the beginning. Who jump started my career? I don't skip nobody. Anybody that has anything to do with my career, I mention every person's name. But for some reason, this guy likes to erase me. I don't know what it is with black people and giving credit to each other. And I say that because, and I know y'all saying, "Why, Stone, you always beating up on black folks?" No, I'm not. I don't get that from white artists. I don't get that from any other artist except for African American artists. So you tell me what you think it is. Neo, for the longest, was telling people he came up in Atlanta. He got his start in Atlanta. That's a lie. It started right here in Las Vegas. And it started with a guy named Stone Paxton who put the group called Envy together, which was a catalyst for his career right now. My buddy stole the group from me. He was a police officer. So he made a threat to me and I took it serious. I was a young dude at that time in my 20s. I got scared. I believed it. I didn't know Vegas like that. So I believed what he said. And I stepped back off of my own group. He stole them and ran into the wind. I set up the first meeting for them to go to. That was through me. When the group came back, he was managing the group and dared me to say anything. But now, let's say fast forward to the future. Neo could still be like, "You know what? This y'all want to know the real story?" Well, Corey Clark met this guy named Stone Paxton. Stone Paxton told him to go find 4 other guys. He brought us. He listened to us sing. He said, "Y'all gonna be called in, be put the group together and start rehearsing us." And the rest is history. How hard is it for a person to tell the truth? How hard is it for a person to tell that story? You see how easy that was, the way I told it? But you see, people want to rewrite. Artists love rewriting the truth. There's always somebody behind an artist. I want you guys to know that. There's always somebody behind an artist. Don't ever believe when an artist start talking about their career, and you don't hear them mentioning how they got their real start, and they're cutting the story short and changing it, and you're like, that seems kind of weird. It usually is. So when a person doesn't tell the truth about the story about how they get started, especially when it comes to all the people I've helped, oh, I'm going to tell the story because I'm going to tell you how they got their start. Now, for so long, when magazines interview me, they ask me when they find out, hey man, I found out you were the guy that had Neo and Corey Clark from American Idol. And if you guys don't know who Corey Clark is, Corey Clark is the one that slept with Paula Abdul. That whole scandal, that's Corey Clark. So I had Corey Clark in the group, Neo, and three other guys, right? So when magazines contact me to interview me, right? They say, some of them say, hey man, I found out you used to manage Neo. You had Neo in the group. You started his career. Sometimes I talk about it. Sometimes I don't even want to talk about it because it brings back memories of why. Like why? How hard is it to not for a person? And then I got to answer these weird questions like, why do you think Neo doesn't mention your name? And I say, hell, if I knew that question, I'd have $1 million for every time a person asks me that question. I don't know. But what I will tell you is artists love rewriting their narrative, the story, and changing it. A lot of times I think they feel like it sounds better if they don't tell the truth. Real truth. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something else. So I can talk about this a little bit. I can't talk too much about it. Well, I can and I can't. So Neo spends his life not mentioning my name, right? All of a sudden I get a call. I'm gonna show y'all how God works. All of a sudden I get a call out of the blue. And it's an attorney, it's my assistant that used to work for me, and she's telling me that an attorney in Vegas is trying to get a hold of me. And I knew this attorney, his name is David Phillips, right? So she's like, David's trying to get a hold of you. I said, why? She said, I don't know, something about Neo in a court case. I said, well, what is it? She said, I don't know. I would say, well, find out. And she calls me back. She said, yeah, he wants to talk to you. It's really important. So I said, all right, cool. Okay. I call him and he says, hey, first of all, I just want to say, Stone, I always been hearing about you. You're a great guy, blah, blah. Great. He was a great, cool brother, black attorney. And I said, oh man, nice to meet you too. And he says, hey man, so I'm calling you because I got a situation. I didn't know that you were the one that put together the group that Neo was in. I said, absolutely. That was my group. Neo and Corey Clark. He said, yeah, well, I know. He said, I know. He said, I got a problem right now. And I said, okay. Now, my buddy that stole the group from me, his name was David also. So the attorney name is David Phillips. My buddy name was David Wallace. Everybody in Vegas knows who David Wallace is. They also know, a lot of people know who the attorney David Phillips is, right? So he tells me David Wallace filed a lawsuit for 10 million against Neo. I laugh when I hear it. I said, what? I was like, what is he filing a lawsuit for? That wasn't even his group. Neo, I guess they were trying to discredit David in court. And guess whose name got mentioned? That's how my name got mentioned. So I'm worthy to get mentioned in court to get out of a case to discredit a guy, but I'm not worthy to get mentioned when it comes to saying Stone Paxton was the start of my career. Listen, I don't want anything from anybody, but all I want is if you just tell the truth, I earned that. So how hard is it to say Stone Paxton was the guy that started it all? That was Envy was his group. He put us together. But you can mention my name in a court case to discredit somebody that stole you guys from me. Then my name gets mentioned. Make that shit make sense, you guys. That's the real truth. So this the reason why when I get online and people ask me questions in interviews about Neo, I talk a little bit and I usually just kind of leave it at that. I'll say some stuff and that's it. You know what I'm saying? But one day Schaefer will talk to me. And I meant to go to because they gave him the key to the city, but I didn't know about it. So I just told DJ Thump, I said, man, I found out later they gave Neo the key to the city. Well, part of that key is mine too. How about that? I wish I had known, because I would have been there front row like this. What's up, Schaefer? To see if he would have acknowledged me in front of all of Las Vegas when he had to give his story about the start. Now, you know, when people do movies and documentaries and they talk about their start, how do you do a documentary or a movie about your start when you erase people out? The start is the start. You can't change the story of your start. Have you guys ever heard of a book, a person telling their life story, and they decide to take out the start out of the beginning? That's not even the life story, because it starts with the start. Am I correct? You can't rewrite it, because people that were involved with the start will know, well, wait a minute, that's not the real start. I'm just saying, the story has to be told right sooner or later. It has to be told right sooner or later. You can't keep not telling the truth about the real story. Can't keep erasing me out of the story. I am part of that story. I am part of your beginning, whether you like it or not. You might as well just accept it and go ahead and start giving Stone Paxton his credit. This is the reason why I don't mess with a lot of artists anymore, you guys. This is the reason why. Artists switch up. Now, I'm not saying artists shouldn't continue to be artists. By all means, keep putting albums out, keep pushing, working hard. But when you get people that help you, acknowledge those people that started with the beginning of helping you. Acknowledge those people that took the time to believe in whatever you're doing to help you get to the next level. It doesn't cost one dime to tell the truth, because you got to tell it sooner or later. So you might as well just tell it. Real story, not made up. I know you probably look at me and say, damn, this dude look young. He's telling stories like he'd have lived 100 years. I feel like I've lived 100 years sometimes, because of the stories that I've been through seem so unbelievable to me as well. The things that I've been through, there's times I look in the mirror and say, there's no way you've done all this in 55 years. Actually, less than that, because out of the 55 years, I had to grow up first. So let's say in 43 years, 42 years, I've done all these things. And believe me, it's hard for me to even believe some of the things that I've accomplished, that I've actually done them. Yeah. I'm always, I wake up in amazement every day as to how I've been able to do some of the things that I've done. This is the reason I tell artists, do not burn bridges with people. Don't burn bridges. Keep great relationships with people. Don't disregard what a person can do for you. Just disregard relationships. Sometimes I think people purposely call me live. Now, if people, they got to know I'm on my live, but maybe they don't. Maybe they don't know I'm on my live, but I just, somebody just tried to call me and they got to know I'm on my live. I'm like, what's going on here? Listen, I live a very simple life. I don't smoke weed. I don't drink. Nothing wrong with the weed smokers. Some people need it for their health. Enjoy it and max it out to the fullest. But I'm just showing you how simple I am. I don't allow myself to ever slip to a point to where I feel like certain things are controlling me. I had a conversation the other day. I had a conversation the other day, and I was talking about vices, right? And I was talking about black men. I don't know if it's on a video a week ago. And I said the only way they get black men is they learn a black man's vices. And this is why we're seeing all the things we're seeing that are happening with black men. Um, Black men are allowing themselves to get caught up because they have allowed people to see their vices. Like, if you got vices, keep that shit in the personal level to yourself And if you got vices that are going to incriminate you or get you caught up, control them, get a hold of them. Yeah, because that's the only way they can get most African American men. The ego and the vices. You know what I'm saying? The drinking, the partying, the kicking it, a whole bunch of women. That's the only way they can get brothers. Everything else, not like they're gonna show up with a book. They know you smart. Not like they can show up with a book and get you like, yeah, send the book at them. Send them a book with a whole bunch of knowledge in them. Yeah, I don't get them. No, they're gonna send the women. They're gonna send the good weed, maybe even the coquina, whatever it takes, and the parties and the parties, and and then that's how we get caught up. Let me see. Pinky said, "Who's your favorite artist that you ever helped back in the day? Like, was easy work with and everything. Probably a members only question." Yeah, Pinky. Those questions are for my members. I gotta respect my members. Those questions are for my members, and I love to answer that. But looks like you are a member, so I'm gonna answer that. I don't mind sharing a little bit of that with some other folks, but that's usually for my members. But I share it anyway. Wow. Well, there's actually a lot of people. Um. Oh man, I don't know. You know what? I remember when I was signed to Grand Jury Entertainment, and Britney Spears at first came out. Right? Is "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time," and I remember the CEO of Grand Jury Entertainment sent all of us producers the remix to that record, and we had to remix that record. And you got to remember, this was a time where they weren't sending like when they send the remixes out, they didn't send. And I thought it was kind of cool. I was like, man, that's cool. That Britney Spears girl, we get to work on that remix. But there was no vocals. I mean, no music to it because when they sent remixes out back in the '80s and the '90s, they sent it without the music because the record company didn't want to leak the music early. So there used to be no music to the vocals. So I wouldn't say helped her, but at the same time, I'll say the remixes that our production company did at the time did kind of elevate and help enhance the song by way of the remixes. So as far as like just organically me helping her, I mean we just did remixes. So I guess that would be like helping her because we did the urban remixes for that "Hit Me One More Time" song back then. We worked on a lot of remixes as a production company. There was 4 or 5 producers under the company. So we all worked on those remixes together. So I have a million stories like that. Some more personable, like you like to know, and I'll save those for the membership. But that's one of them that I'll give you. Yeah, yeah, Pinky. Yeah. So I thought it was neat because at the time we had been doing all kinds of other more urban remixes. So when the Britney Spears remix came through, that was more like pop crossover because she was a huge star at that time. So that one was a cool one to be a part of and to work on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and I got so many stories, man. I mean, I got just like my mind is like a encyclopedia of amazing music industry stories. You know what I'm saying? You see that, Gray? But this is the reason why I do not work with. Just so if y'all know, like when artists hit me and they're saying, "Hey, are you signing new acts?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm not signing no acts." But if you need help, I'm here. If you want to consult with me, you can consult with me. You consult with me about anything. If you need me to produce a record, you can hire me as a producer, me and my team. You can hire me and Meech and the whole team we have. You can hire us. We'll produce the records, but yeah, I'm not really looking for no acts like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say I'm not looking because somebody can send me something that might be crazy phenomenal, but I'm not necessarily signing any acts. I might take the act and take them to a label, Personally, I'm not signing any acts anymore like that. Yeah, that stuff was too much of a headache. It was a lot. That was a very stressful time. And you see what happens. People forget about you. After they get their record deals, they act like they created their opportunity and you never existed. Elizabeth says, Stone, I want an autograph pic of you, please. Elizabeth, are you the one that said you live in Vegas? Yeah, let me know, Elizabeth, autograph pic. Um, if not, email me at stonepaxton@gmail.com and I can get a autograph pic to you. I'll let you know what that's going to cost. I don't really like putting my autographs on a lot of stuff because the more you sign autographs, the less your signature is worth. So I'm only going to do a limited amount of autograph photos, but I got some nice autograph photos. I got some nice ones that you guys will love. Yeah, CC just posted the email. Elizabeth just emailed me, and then I'll make sure that we get that taken care of. Elizabeth said, I live in LA. Okay, thank you. Elizabeth, Meech and I were in LA at KBLA for an interview like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks. See, you could have came up to the station and I would have hit you up with that autograph, but it's all good. We can still take care of you. We can still take care of you. Yeah, we got you, Elizabeth. Just make sure you hit me up and then we'll get everything like no worries. I mean, think about it, you guys. Would you have imagined that I was the guy behind the opportunity that generated that put Neo in the position where he's at? Would you have ever imagined I was the catalyst that started the whole thing with the group that he was in? That I created the name and started that group. Would you guys, if you'd have never known me, would you have imagined that that guy off of Stone off of YouTube you've seen a couple times, he's the guy that put together the group that launched the Neo guy's career, him and Corey Clark. I can't believe it sometimes. But if you know me, you'll know that's what I do. I find a lot of groups, I put them together through the years. It's just something I've always done. Jay Ravage, what's up, Jay? Man, listen, the software, the desktop version is bullshit, Jay Ravage. I'm gonna be honest with you. It looks so corny. It's like I felt like they should have changed the screen and made it more colorful. I'm really kind of upset because it's almost like all they did was put color overlay over that, bro. Like they could have done better with that software. I'm kind of low key disappointed in it, to be honest. Elizabeth said, "That's amazing. Tell my friends. I tell my friends about you and meets all the time. Oh, Elizabeth, thank you. We don't ever want to let you down, Elizabeth. We're gonna live up to that. I promise." Thank you, Elizabeth. We appreciate that. Meech and I do. You wouldn't have known what? Oh, you Jay Ravage, you're talking about. Now, if you look at Jay Ravage, he's been a long time member. Anytime you see that orange thing in my membership, those are people that have been members of my channel a long time, you guys. Pinkey said, no, I always thought he was the songwriter behind the scenes. I admired people like him until I found that songwriters has songwriters. I'm a little let down. Yeah, Leanne said, now you told us that, so they can't go around telling lies about it. Exactly. Because think about this. One thing you guys will learn about me, I will never get on YouTube and say something that I have not done or lived or done. Why? Because I know that if I'm lying, I can be discredited easy. So I'm not gonna get on here and be one of those YouTube people that'll lie to you about something. I've lived it and I'm proud to be able to, even though I don't like that word because my mom didn't like it, but I am very proud of being able to say that because when I see that young man's career, I know that it started from me believing in them and taking a chance at believing in them and making them believe in themselves. Just imagine. You know what they talk about, the butterfly effect, right? One thing leading into another opportunity, one opportunity leading. If I had never even thought about helping those young men, there is a big chance that that outcome would have never been exactly what it is now, because one opportunity led to another opportunity. When I told my buddy to take them to LA for this meeting that I set up, that was what changed the whole narrative. Me putting them together and setting that meeting up. The only thing that changed in that dynamic was when they came back, he had stolen the group from me. That's the real truth. Melody, I have a book that I'm working on. Shit, I've been working on this book for probably 8 years. Should have been done already. Jay Rabbit said he's doing good. He's 82. Who you talking about? Your dad? Melody, I'm going to write a book for sure. Scorpio, thank you for the donation again. Scorpio said, great conversation. Got a little work to do. I hope to catch you later. I danced for the first in many years to your song, History, last week. Great sound. Have a fabulous day. Have a fabulous day, everyone. Scorpio, thank you. You got to check out the other songs too, like Happy People, Feel the Groove. History is one of my favorites, Scorpio. I love it. Thank you for adoring the music and loving it. And thank you for stepping in and brightening the room up tonight with the love you always give us. You guys say bye to Scorpio, because once again, she just hooked everybody up with memberships tonight that didn't have them. So please say good day to Scorpio, you guys, for all that love she gave us. Yeah, like I said, one day Neo's going to have to tell the truth, and it's gonna have to happen. He's gonna have to. Him and I will run into each other, and we'll have that eye to eye conversation. And I'll say to him, "Hey, bro, like, why is it hard for you to just tell the truth? How do you want to write me out of your life, the beginning of it? I don't care about your middle and the end, but you can't write me out the beginning." That's what the conversation I have to him when I see him. Pinky said, I'm on the cassette tapes and CD era. It's crazy how the names were not even on here. I'm a songwriter and beat maker myself, but I made someone famous without being included. I would have been mad. Yeah. And you know what's so crazy? I wasn't even mad about it. That's the craziest part about it. I had forgotten about it and went on with my life, Pinky. Um, but my name got brought into it via a court case, and that brought my name back up again because people were trying to get out of the court case with my buddy suing him. Well, a guy that I thought was my buddy. And so my name was brought up to Stone Paxton being the original manager to try to get out of the situation. And that's how I even knew about the court. I would have never known about it until the attorney contacted me. Yeah. So there it is, you guys. And that's the truth. And one day he'll make it right. One day, here's the thing, I'm going to give him credit. One day Neo will say, "Hey Stone, man, I'm sorry, man." And one day you'll see him. Somebody will end up sending me a message saying, "Man, I saw an interview on Neo, and he mentioned your name." Somebody end up telling me. And here's the thing, man. God doesn't like ugly. That's what our elders used to say. And eventually he'll make it right. And I know he will. And that's why I'm not worried. Eventually he will be like, yeah, man, a guy named Stone Paxton put the group name MB together. And that's all I want him to say. Just give me my credit, man. I put that piece together. You ain't even got to go in detail about the other stuff. Just give me the credit as the person that was the catalyst that put that group together, that launched your opportunity into where you're at now. And I'm cool. I don't want no money. That right there is enough respect for people to go, oh, that was the dude that started his career. And I say it about any artist that I work with, give me my credit. You can't write me out of history. I'm part of the history. And I'm still an artist. It's relevant and it's elegant. Listen to my music. You can hear the quality in my writing. You can hear the years of experience. You know, I'm not making this stuff up. Another thing Neo never used to do. I want you to go back and look at Neo's old videos from the beginning. He wasn't kicking a microphone, but he went on that YouTube and saw how I kicked those microphones. He started kicking microphones. Let that sink in. But first, I want you to go back and look at his early videos. He wasn't wearing a hat. He wasn't kicking microphones. And go look at me at the Whiskey a Go Go and look at the date on that. And look at me kicking microphones and the hat I had on. And then how his whole image changed to really dancing and kicking mics and hats. You know, the student's always going to be infatuated with the teacher. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, when I get on stage, I put it down. That's what I do. I love being on stage. Not nothing made up, only the truth. Thank you, CC. Listen, Elizabeth, sometimes thank you is all that's needed. Leanne said, at least recognize that person who was there when they needed you. Yes, our community has a problem with that. In our community, there's a problem in acknowledging the person that was there when we needed help. It's like that in our community. Why? I don't know. I'm hoping that we can change that through the years. You know, I'm hoping that I can change it. And just the way I am. So I acknowledge everybody that has helped me. I always do. I never leave out not one person, because there might be four people along my life that were part of me making it. I don't forget none of them. I mention everybody's name. It's not that complicated. When somebody says, "How did you get your start?" Like, where did it all start? What was the beginning? It's not a trick question. Jay Rabbit said, in the music industry, what I've learned definitely from you is that you can't do everything on your own. It's okay to get help when you need it. Absolutely, Jay Rabbit. If everybody thought that way, we'd have more people successful and more people being appreciated, because those that have helped one person will turn around and continue to help other people because they know they're being appreciated. That's why it's important. CC said that's why uh, they teach call centers reps to acknowledge the customer's concerns, recognizing their worth and their concerns. CC, facts. Tessie Ward say, take it way back to Neil's guest spots on the soap operas. All of my children. What? You say Nero's? Huh? Nero? I'm sorry, Tessie. I missed that, Tessie. I was trying to understand it. Penicky say, Alexa, play They Do Anything for Clout. These people are running away from the freak off. So I guess that's the real people behind the scenes will finally get noticed. hey, hey, Pinky, you're funny. Oh, Tess, okay, I got you, Tess. Yes, I got you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All I can do is tell the Stone Paxton truth about the music industry and the things I've done, the people I've helped, and the list is long. That book is coming. It'll be a book about the music industry, but I'll talk about, things like that too, the people I've helped and, you know, stuff like that, but it's all the truth, man. It feels good to be able to get on here and talk about the music industry and the things you've done and not have to worry about somebody questioning if it's a lie when 100% it's the truth. And the people you dealt with in the music industry know it's the truth. So that just feels great to be able to do that. More to life. MMG said, I understand working with artists is tough. I want to write a TV series about part of the journey. That's great. I've actually had a few people who have actually come to me about different documentaries and reality shows like that and asked me would I be a part of it. And I've said, yeah, just let me know when you put it together. I'm down, let's talk. So that's a great idea because nobody, it's so much about the journey that makes a story interesting that it would be great to do something like that. I've even thought about doing it myself, but I'm so busy with so much. I don't really have the time to dedicate to even looking at my documentary. I'm still working on it. It's taking up too much of my time, but I'm with you. Once you put that together, you decide you want some of my stories in it. I'll oblige and I'll work with you on that. And Jay Radrich said, and what I definitely learned is that a lot of people think they know how the music business works when really they don't. Jay Ravage. Now that right there is a super fact. That is a super fact. There's so many people that I talk to that think they know the music industry, and sometimes I sit back like a fly on the wall and I let them talk, and I'm just like listening because I already know they're just talking a whole bunch of rubbish, and it makes no sense. They have yet to begin to understand how this business works. Listen, you guys, I just realized I've kept you on too long. And with that said, I'm going to hop on tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll have Meech on here. We'll do our little Sunday vibes. But thank you for hanging with me. And Scorpio, wherever you are, if you're listening, love sent out to you. You're awesome. You're amazing. And I have to acknowledge that anybody that donated tonight, I do appreciate you because I understand that you don't have to do that. I do appreciate everyone tuning in because I understand that you could be doing some other shit, but you're sitting and you're listening to me run my mouth. And I appreciate you for the time and listening to my stories because I have some amazing stories, man. I have stories that'll have you on the edge of your seat. But thank you for humbling yourself and spending time with me. I thank you to all of you, my moderators, CC Styles, Cambodian Mystique. Thank you guys for holding me down. Love to all of you guys, everybody in here. Damaged Kisses. How long have you been in here? You just got in here? See, Damaged Kisses just now because she missed all the great stories, you guys. I don't know if you were in here, Damaged Kisses, but listen, love to you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you again. I can't thank you enough, man. I wish I could send all of you ladies roses because I do appreciate you. Truth75 said, appreciation, you Stone Cold. And so thank you, family. Truth. Always appreciating you, Truth. Damn, I was kind of close, wasn't I? Truth, I'm always appreciating you, family, too. Thank you. Damaged Kisses, Truth. Everybody on here. Tessie, Leanne, Pinky, Melody. I'm trying to see everybody. Boss Lady, what's up, Boss Lady? I appreciate you. Who else is on here? More to Life, MMG. Thank you, Elizabeth. J Ravage, Melody. I think I said Melody. Let me see. Tess. And anybody else that I missed that I didn't get to say thank you. And to my moderators, Leanne, and to my moderators, I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Okay. Peace and love. Sleep, chill. If you're going to the club, be safe if you're driving. But I'm going to catch you manana, manana. Okay. Ciao.